Chosen one, you are not here by accident. You did not stumble into this moment by chance or curiosity. You are here because a sealed prophetic scroll written about you before you were born is beginning to open right now, according to heaven's perfect Kairos timing. Chosen one. There is an appointed hour on heaven's clock, and this moment is pressing against it. Something long hidden is stirring. A divine unlocking that has waited through years of silence, delay, and preparation is now stepping into motion. What was postponed was never denied. It was preserved. And today, tonight, or in the coming hours, that preservation may turn into manifestation. Anointed One scripture reminds us that for everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven, as written in Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1. This is not chronological time. This is Kairos, the suddenly of God. The moment Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3 speaks of when the vision waits, but at the appointed time it will speak and not lie. Chosen one, you are standing at the edge of a divine threshold. What heaven delayed to protect you, it now releases to position you. Expect your awareness to sharpen. Expect your spirit to awaken. Expect movement in your body, your understanding, or your circumstances. The hour has come. The scroll is opening, and what was hidden in Christ is now being revealed within you. Chosen one, before anything else is explained, before any mystery is decoded, you need to understand this. You are being addressed on purpose. This moment did not drift into your life by accident. Heaven does not interrupt without intention. Something sealed inside you is responding right now, and that response is older than your fear, older than your doubts, older than the version of you that learned how to survive by staying quiet. You were called to remember what was taken from you before you ever knew it had a name. You were called to awaken what was put to sleep, not because it was dangerous, but because it was powerful. And you were called to activate a light that has been dormant inside you since birth, waiting for the precise hour written on heaven's calendar. Anointed one, I know what it feels like to sense that something is missing, but not know how to explain it. To love Jesus deeply, yet feel that the version of faith you were given never fully matched the Christ your spirit recognizes. I've lived in that tension. I've prayed prayers that felt unanswered, only to later realize they were being delayed, not denied. Hidden seasons feel like silence, but silence is often protection. This message is not for everyone, and that matters. If you are still here listening, leaning in, feeling that quiet pressure behind your eyes or in your chest, it's because you have eyes to see. Not physical eyes, inner sight. The kind Jesus spoke about when he released one of his most guarded codes. When he said the light of the body is the eye, he was not speaking in riddles to confuse people. He was speaking in layers to protect truth. Jesus never wasted words. He encoded them. And when he spoke of a single eye filling the whole body with light, he was pointing toward an internal awakening, an alignment between spirit, body, and divine awareness. Chosen one, think about it honestly. If he was speaking literally, it would make no sense. Everyone has two physical eyes, so the question becomes unavoidable: was Jesus mistaken, or was he speaking about something hidden, something sacred, something that only awakens when the time is right? Throughout history, mystics understood what institutions later tried to sanitize. Across cultures and centuries, sacred art repeated the same imagery: light radiating from the head, symbols placed between the brows, halos painted not as decoration but as testimony. They were recording experiences, encounters, moments when the inner lamp came alive. I used to dismiss that imagery as symbolic until my own stillness began to speak louder than noise. In moments of deep prayer, not asking for anything, just surrendering, I felt something awaken, not emotionally, physically, a subtle pressure, a warmth, a sense of being seen from the inside out. That was the moment I realized Jesus wasn't talking about imagination, he was talking about illumination, anointed one. Jesus never invited people into fantasy, he invited them into embodiment. When he spoke of destroying the temple and raising it in 3 days, the religious system heard blasphemy, but the mystics heard revelation. The temple was never stone, it was never gold. It was never a building controlled by gatekeepers. The temple has always been the body, your body. And this is where the message turns personal, because once you accept that you are the temple, responsibility and authority return to you. The ancient temple had a design: outer courts, inner courts, and the Holy of Holies. Only one place was considered sacred enough for divine presence, and that blueprint exists inside you. The most sacred chamber is not in the sky, it is in the center of your being, hidden, guarded, protected. The heart acts as the altar where devotion, sacrifice, and emotion meet. The spine becomes the ladder bridging earth and heaven, survival and surrender. And the lamp was never meant to go out. Chosen. One, place your hand on your chest for a moment. Feel that rhythm. That is not random. That is life speaking. Whisper this quietly, even if your mind resists. I am the temple. When I first said those words, they terrified me. They dismantled years of dependency, but they also restored something ancient: direct access. If you are the temple, then the lamp inside you must be lit. And this is where everything begins to change. Inside the center of your brain sits a tiny pine cone-shaped gland, long associated with awareness, rhythm, and perception. Ancient cultures called it the seat of the soul. Philosophers called it the meeting place of spirit and body. Jesus called it the single eye. Modern science explains part of its function but avoids its implication. Because if the light inside you can perceive more than this world, then control systems lose their grip. Chosen one. I am not sharing theory with you. I am sharing lived revelation. Stillness reawakens what noise suppresses. Prayer without performance reopens what fear calcifies. When you slow down, truly slow down, your body remembers what your mind forgot. And if something is stirring in you right now that is not suggestion, that is recognition. Stay with me, because in the next part we are going to talk about the lamp itself, why it was feared, how it was dimmed, and why heaven is restoring it now in this exact Kairos moment. Chosen one, now we go deeper, because once the temple is recognized, the question becomes unavoidable. Why was the lamp dimmed? And more importantly, why is it being relit now? Every ancient temple had one command that could not be violated. The lamp was never allowed to go out, not during war, not during famine, not during silence. The flame was tended continuously because it represented divine presence dwelling among humanity. When the lamp burned, heaven was near. And anointed one, this is not ancient history. This is anatomy. This is destiny. This is you. Inside the center of your being sits the lamp. Jesus was pointing to the inner light that perceives more than survival, more than fear, more than the visible world. It is subtle, yes, but it is not weak. It is quiet, but it is not passive. And for a long time it was intentionally neglected. I want to speak plainly now because prophetic truth does not whisper forever. There was a season when your lamp had to dim, not because you were forgotten, but because you were being preserved. There are truths that cannot survive premature exposure. There are awakenings that would have crushed you if they had arrived before you were ready to hold them. I know this because I lived it. There were years when my prayers felt flat, when spiritual language felt hollow, when faith felt more like memory than fire. I blamed myself. I thought I had failed, but looking back I see something different. The flame wasn't gone. It was covered, shielded, waiting, chosen. One calcification is not always decay. Sometimes it is defense. The inner lamp grows quiet when the world becomes too loud. It retreats when trauma teaches the nervous system to stay alert instead of aware. It dims when survival becomes the priority over surrender. That's not sin, that's adaptation, and heaven is gentle with adaptation. But there comes a time, an appointed time, when adaptation becomes limitation, and that is when Kairos interrupts. Jesus spoke often about sleep not as judgment, but as condition. He said people were asleep while walking, hearing but not perceiving, seeing but not recognizing, and he never shamed them for it. He called them awake, anointed one. Awakening is not dramatic at first. It doesn't always arrive with visions or thunder. Sometimes it begins as discomfort, a restlessness, a sense that the old explanations no longer satisfy. You still love God, but something feels unfinished, incomplete. That sensation is not rebellion, it is remembrance knocking. When the lamp begins to respond again, it does so gently, a pressure during prayer, a warmth during stillness, a clarity that arrives without logic. I remember the first time I noticed it clearly. I wasn't trying to activate anything. I was exhausted. I had stopped striving. I simply sat in silence, and something inside me answered. Chosen one. The lamp responds to surrender, not effort. This is why Jesus withdrew so often, not to escape people but to return to alignment. Stillness is not absence of activity, it is the environment where truth becomes audible. When the mind slows, the body remembers its design. And here is the part the institutions never wanted you to understand. If the lamp is lit, mediation becomes unnecessary. Control dissolves, access becomes personal, and systems built on dependency begin to tremble. That is why this teaching was feared. When Jesus said the kingdom of God is within you, he wasn't offering comfort. He was declaring independence. The moment a human realizes they carry divine presence internally, external authority loses its leverage. That message threatened more than theology. It threatened economics, power, hierarchy. So the narrative shifted. The focus moved outward. Salvation became distant. Access became conditional, and the lamp, the inner knowing, was slowly replaced with compliance. But anointed one truth has a memory, and memory has timing. You are alive now because this is the generation capable of integration, not escape from the world but embodiment within it, not rejection of the body but illumination through it. This is why heaven is intervening now. The lamp is not being relit for spectacle. It is being relit for stewardship, to see clearly in dark systems, to remain awake in numbing cycles, to walk the earth with heaven's awareness intact. Chosen one. If you feel called but unqualified, that is a sign you are close. The lamp does not ignite through ego. It ignites through humility, through honesty, through willingness to sit with questions instead of rushing to answers. Right now, something subtle may be happening inside you, not fireworks alignment. The sense that what you are hearing is not new information, but confirmation. That is because this message is not teaching you something foreign. It is reminding you of something familiar. The lamp knows its hour, and this hour is not random. There is a reason you are hearing this now and not years ago. There is a reason you survived what should have broken you. There is a reason your faith endured even when your certainty collapsed. You were being prepared to hold light without burning yourself. In the next part, we will talk about why resurrection was never only about death and how awakening the inner lamp shifts the way you experience time, fear, and even the idea of mortality itself. Stay with me. because the mystery does not end with illumination. It begins with transformation. Chosen one. Now we arrive at a turning point because illumination is not the end of the message. It is the threshold. Once the lamp is lit, the question shifts from seeing to becoming. And this is where resurrection must be understood differently than you were taught. Most people were taught to see resurrection as an event that happened to Jesus alone, a moment locked in history, a miracle reserved for the past or postponed until the afterlife. But Jesus never treated resurrection as a distant reward. He spoke of it as a present reality, a state of being available to those who awaken. Anointed One noticed something subtle in the Gospels. Whenever Jesus encountered death, he did not treat it as final. He called it sleep. When people laughed at him for saying this, he did not correct himself. He revealed a deeper truth. Death and sleep are closer than humanity realizes, and awakening is always possible. That truth changes everything. Every night you practice a small death. You release control. You let go of identity. You surrender awareness of the physical world. And every morning you return. That rhythm is not accidental. It is rehearsal. It is training. It is preparation for remembering that consciousness is not confined to the body, it moves through it. The pineal lamp plays a role here not as fantasy, but as function. In sleep, it becomes active. It regulates rhythm, yes, but it also opens perception. Dreams are not random. They are the mind loosened from gravity. Time bends. Logic dissolves. Messages arrive without language. Chosen one. Have you ever woken up with clarity you didn't have the night before? An answer you weren't consciously searching for. That is resurrection in miniature. That is the mind returning from stillness with light. Jesus understood this deeply. That is why he withdrew before miracles. Not because he needed rest, but because he needed alignment. He entered silence to return to source, and from that place, action became effortless. Resurrection, then, is not merely rising from the dead. It is rising from unconscious living. Paul captured this when he wrote about awakening from sleep and receiving light. He was not talking to corpses. He was talking to people who were alive but unawake. People functioning, working, praying, yet disconnected from the fullness within them. Anointed One. Many people live entire lives in that state. They breathe, but they do not inhabit themselves. They follow routines but never feel present. They believe but never experience. Jesus did not come to recruit believers. He came to awaken participants. This is where Christ consciousness must be understood correctly. It is not ego inflation. It is not self-worship. It is alignment. Consciousness aligned with divine will. Humanity synchronized with heaven. When Jesus said you would do greater works, he was not diminishing himself. He was multiplying the pattern. He was revealing that what flowed through him was not exclusive, it was exemplary. He showed what is possible when the lamp is lit and the body becomes a willing vessel. Chosen one. This realization can feel unsettling at first. It destabilizes inherited beliefs. It dissolves false humility. It removes the safety of distance. Because once you realize the kingdom is within you, responsibility returns to your hands. But it also restores dignity. You are not waiting to be saved from the world. You are being awakened within it. Resurrection is not escape. It is embodiment. It is learning to walk through time without being owned by it, to feel emotion without drowning in it, to face fear without becoming it. I remember when this understanding first shifted inside me. Nothing external changed immediately. My life looked the same, but my relationship to it changed completely. Moments slowed, awareness sharpened. I noticed when I was reacting instead of responding. I noticed when I was asleep inside habits that no longer served me. That awareness was resurrection. Chosen one. This is why the awakening often feels uncomfortable. Resurrection requires disintegration before reformation. Old identities cannot survive new awareness. Old fears lose their authority. Old narratives begin to crack, and the ego resists this fiercely. It prefers familiar pain over unfamiliar freedom. It prefers sleep over responsibility. That is why awakening feels like tension before it feels like peace, pressure before clarity, silence before certainty. But stay with it, because resurrection is not about perfection, it is about presence. When the lamp is lit and consciousness awakens, you begin to experience life differently. Time no longer feels like an enemy. Death no longer feels like annihilation. And fear loses its power to paralyze. This does not mean you stop feeling human emotion. It means emotion stops controlling your identity. Chosen one. This is what Jesus modeled. He wept. He felt anguish. He experienced pressure. But he was not ruled by fear of death because he knew death was not the end of awareness. He had already crossed that threshold nightly in stillness, in surrender. This is why resurrection is available now, not after you die, now. Every time you choose awareness over reaction, you rise. Every time you choose stillness over distraction, you rise. Every time you remember who you are beneath conditioning, you rise. And this rising does not make you separate from others. It makes you more compassionate, more grounded, more embodied. Light does not isolate, it integrates. In the next part, we will speak about why this awakening was delayed for so many, and why this generation is different, why the hidden remnant is surfacing now, and why your survival through darkness was not accidental, but essential preparation. Stay here, because the deeper truth is, this resurrection is not something you wait for. It is something you remember how to live. Chosen one. There is a reason this awakening did not come earlier, and it is not because you were unworthy, unready, or overlooked. It is because timing matters more than desire. Heaven never releases what cannot yet be sustained. Many ask why truth was hidden for so long, why generations lived and died without accessing what you are beginning to sense now. The answer is not conspiracy alone, it is capacity. Light given too early blinds instead of illuminates. Fire released without a vessel destroys instead of refines. You were not delayed, you were prepared. There were seasons in your life when awakening would have shattered you. Times when you were still forming identity, still learning boundaries, still healing wounds you didn't even know had names. If the lamp had ignited fully, then it would have overwhelmed your nervous system. You would have mistaken illumination for chaos. So heaven waited. I know this personally. There were years when I asked for clarity and received silence. Years when I felt abandoned by answers I was sure I was ready for. Only later did I understand what felt like silence was mercy. What felt like absence was protection. I was being taught how to stay grounded before being shown how to see. Chosen one. Awakening is not escape from the human experience. It is full entry into it, and that requires stability. This is why hidden seasons are sacred. They are not wasted time. They are womb time, root time, foundation time. Trees that grow too fast fall easily. Souls that awaken too quickly fracture under pressure. And now something has shifted. The world itself is changing rhythm. Systems are shaking. Narratives are breaking down. Certainty is dissolving. What once felt solid now feels unstable. That instability is not punishment. It is exposure. Structures built on fear cannot survive illumination. This is why the hidden ones are surfacing. You may have felt different your entire life, never fully at home in the world as it is. You learned to adapt, to blend, to survive. But something in you always resisted complete assimilation. That resistance was not rebellion. It was memory. You were never meant to disappear into the system. You were meant to see it. Chosen one. This generation carries a unique capacity. You have lived through information overload, emotional burnout, spiritual confusion, and still retained the ability to feel, to question, to search. That resilience matters. It means you can hold paradox without collapsing. You can see darkness without becoming it. Previous generations could not. This is why the teachings had to remain encoded, why language was symbolic, why truth traveled through myth, art, and story instead of instruction. It was being preserved, not erased, waiting for minds flexible enough to hold it without turning it into control. Now the conditions are right. Awakening today does not happen in monasteries alone. It happens in kitchens, cars, bedrooms, offices, in moments of exhaustion, in quiet rebellion against numbness, in the refusal to live on autopilot anymore. Chosen one, if you are listening to this and something in you feels both unsettled and relieved, that is confirmation. You are not losing your faith. You are outgrowing its earlier form. This awakening does not replace Jesus. It reveals him more fully. Christ consciousness is not about becoming divine instead of human. It is about becoming human without forgetting the divine. Jesus did not abandon the world. He embodied heaven within it. And now that pattern is being distributed, not to create saviors, but witnesses, not to build empires, but to restore awareness. This is why control-based religion resisted this message, because awakened people do not need intermediaries to access God. They do not outsource authority over their inner world. They listen, discern, align, and alignment is dangerous to systems built on fear. Chosen one. If you feel a quiet courage rising inside you, not loud confidence but steady clarity, that is the lamp strengthening. When fear no longer dictates your decisions, you become unpredictable to manipulation. This does not mean you reject community or tradition. It means you engage them consciously. You choose rather than comply. You participate without surrendering awareness. That is maturity. This awakening was delayed because it requires maturity, not age, but integration. The ability to feel deeply without drowning, to see clearly without arrogance, to walk humbly without shrinking. You have lived enough life to develop that now. Every disappointment you survived taught discernment. Every loss taught depth. Every unanswered prayer taught patience. None of it was random. Heaven was training you to carry light without demanding worship for it. In the next part, we will speak about what happens after awakening begins, how to live with the lamp lit without burning out, how to integrate awareness into ordinary life, and how to recognize the difference between true illumination and spiritual distraction. Because awakening is not the finish line, it is the beginning of stewardship. Stay present. The scroll is still opening. Chosen one. Once the lamp begins to burn again, the greatest challenge is not awakening, it is stewardship. Light without wisdom can exhaust the body. Awareness without grounding can fracture the soul. This is why many people awaken, briefly feel overwhelmed, and then retreat back into sleep. Not because the truth was false, but because they were never taught how to live with it. I want to speak to you now, not just as a messenger, but as a guide who has learned this the hard way. When the inner light first intensifies, everything becomes louder. Emotions rise faster. Intuition sharpens. Sensitivity increases. You notice subtle shifts in people's energy, in environments, in yourself. At first, this can feel empowering, then disorienting. Without grounding, illumination can feel like overload. Chosen one. Awakening is not about staying high. It is about becoming stable. Jesus did not live in constant ecstasy. He lived in presence. He ate, he walked, he rested, he laughed, he withdrew when needed and returned when ready. The lamp does not demand constant activation. It requires rhythm. This is where many lose balance, mistaking intensity for holiness. The lamp burns brightest when it is tended, not when it is forced. That tending happens through ordinary practices: stillness, breath, honesty, rest, embodied living. These are not distractions from spirituality. They are its foundation. I learned this during a season when I thought awakening meant constant vigilance. I stopped resting. I overanalyzed every sensation. I tried to stay open all the time. My body eventually pushed back. Anxiety rose, sleep fragmented. The lamp was bright, but the vessel was strained. That was the lesson. Chosen one. The body is not an obstacle to awakening. It is the container for it. When awareness increases, the nervous system must be trained to feel safe in the present moment. Otherwise, the mind interprets heightened perception as threat. This is why stillness practices matter not as rituals, but as regulation. Simple grounding brings the lamp into harmony. Walking slowly, breathing deeply, eating intentionally, speaking truthfully, being present in small moments. These acts anchor light into life. This is how heaven meets earth through embodiment. You do not need to escape your humanity to live spiritually. You need to inhabit it fully. Another truth that must be said gently: not every sensation is a message. Not every inner experience is prophecy. Discernment becomes essential once awakening begins. The lamp illuminates, but it does not replace wisdom. Jesus often said, "Watch, not react, not panic, watch." Awareness without patience turns into obsession. Sensitivity without discernment becomes confusion. This is why silence remains important even after awakening. It is where clarity stabilizes. Chosen one. The lamp does not demand interpretation at every moment. Sometimes it simply wants to be. This is where many chase signs instead of integrating truth. They look outward for confirmation instead of inward for alignment. But alignment is quieter. It feels like peace rather than excitement, like steadiness rather than urgency. You will know you are integrating the awakening when your reactions soften, when fear loses urgency, when your sense of identity becomes less fragile, when you can be fully present without needing to label the moment. That is Christ consciousness in daily life, not visions, but embodiment. Another challenge that arises is isolation. Awakening can make familiar relationships feel misaligned. Conversations may feel shallow. Old patterns no longer fit. This can feel lonely at first. Chosen one, do not rush to sever connections. Integration often looks like patience. You are learning a new frequency, but others may not be there yet. Compassion becomes the bridge. You do not need to convince. You do not need to announce. Light does not argue, it reveals. Some will feel drawn to your calm. Others will feel uncomfortable. That is not your responsibility to manage. Your task is presence. Remember, Jesus did not awaken people by force. He spoke embodied and invited. Let your life become the message. There will also be moments when the lamp feels dim again. This does not mean you have lost it. It means you are integrating it deeper. Light moves in waves. Expansion is always followed by grounding. Do not panic during quiet phases. Do not chase intensity. Trust the rhythm. Chosen one. The lamp was never meant to burn you. It was meant to guide you. As you learn to live with it, you will notice something profound. Fear loses its grip on time. The future feels less threatening. The past loses its weight. You begin to live now, fully, gently, awake. This is resurrection lived daily, not dramatic, but transformative. In the next part, we will speak about the hidden remnant, why you feel called to this path, how to recognize others walking it, and what it means to walk together without hierarchy, control, or fear. Because this awakening was never meant to be solitary. It was meant to be shared quietly, wisely, and at the right time. Stay with me. The light is learning how to live through you. Chosen one. There comes a moment in every true awakening when you realize this path was never meant to be walked alone. Not because you are weak, but because light multiplies when it is shared in wisdom. This is where the idea of the hidden remnant becomes more than a phrase. It becomes lived reality. Throughout history, there has always been a small group who carried truth quietly, not louder than others, not elevated above others, simply awake while the world slept. They were not always recognized, often misunderstood, sometimes persecuted, but they were preserved. You are not imagining the sense that there are others like you. You may have felt it your whole life, a subtle recognition when you meet certain people. A sense of familiarity that has nothing to do with background language or belief system. A calm that settles in your body when someone speaks from awareness rather than performance. That recognition is not emotional attachment, it is resonance. The hidden remnant does not identify itself through labels. It recognizes itself through presence, through humility, through the absence of compulsion to prove anything. When you encounter another who carries the lamp gently, there is no urgency to convince, debate, or dominate. There is listening, space, mutual respect. This is how you know. Chosen one. Many confuse awakening with superiority. That is the fastest way to lose alignment. True illumination produces humility, not hierarchy. Jesus washed feet after awakening others to the kingdom. He did not crown himself over them. He walked among them. The remnant carries this same posture. You are not called to gather followers. You are called to walk alongside others in clarity, not to build platforms of ego, but networks of awareness, not to preach constantly, but to live attentively. I want to share something personal here. There was a season when I thought awakening meant finding people who believed exactly what I believed. That search left me frustrated and isolated. It wasn't until I stopped looking for sameness and started recognizing presence that everything changed. Some of the most aligned souls I've met did not share my language, my theology, or my background, but they shared awareness, and that was enough. Chosen one. The remnant is diverse by design. Uniformity creates control. Diversity creates resilience. You may recognize the remnant in unexpected places, in quiet listeners, in people who ask thoughtful questions rather than offering loud answers, in those who are comfortable with mystery, in those who value integrity over influence. They often live ordinary lives, jobs, families, responsibilities. They do not announce themselves because awakening does not need validation. This is why many never notice them. But when the time comes, recognition happens quickly. As awakening spreads, there is also a warning that must be spoken with care. Not everyone who speaks of light carries it. Not every spiritual voice is grounded. Not every intense experience is truth. Discernment becomes essential when walking with others. Chosen one. The remnant does not bond through shared outrage or shared enemies. It bonds through shared stillness. If a space thrives on fear, urgency, or superiority, step back. The lamp does not flicker anxiously. It burns steadily. True connection feels spacious, safe, clarifying. When you gather with others who are awake, there is no pressure to perform spirituality. Silence is welcomed, questions are allowed, humanity is honored. This is how the remnant survives without becoming another system. You are not being called to abandon community, but to redefine it. The old models were built on authority from above. The emerging way is built on awareness among equals. No one stands between another and God. No one claims exclusive access. Each listens inwardly and confirms outwardly through shared discernment. This is what frightened institutions in the past, because awakened communities do not require domination, they require trust. Chosen one, you may feel a quiet nudge to connect differently now, to seek depth instead of noise, to value presence over popularity, to protect your energy rather than scattering it. Honor that. This path requires fewer words and more integrity, fewer arguments and more embodiment. When you live awake, you give others permission to do the same without force. And here is something important: you do not need to find all of the remnant. You only need to recognize those placed in your path. Heaven does not overwhelm with connection. It aligns intentionally. Pay attention to who brings peace, not pressure, who encourages clarity, not confusion, who respects your pace, not rushes your process. These are signs. Walking together does not mean constant agreement. It means shared commitment to truth over ego, to listening over reacting, to humility over image. Chosen one. This is how light spreads quietly across generations through relationships grounded in awareness rather than control. In the final part, we will speak about the moment you are standing in now, how to recognize the Kairos window that is opening, how to respond without fear, and how to step forward without forcing outcomes. Because awakening is not only about understanding, it is about timing, and timing is speaking. Stay present. The final seal is near. Chosen one. This is where everything converges. Not in spectacle, not in noise, but in clarity. There is a moment when awakening stops feeling like a process and begins to feel like direction. That moment is Kairos, not clock time, not waiting time, appointed time. Kairos is when preparation meets permission. You may sense it as a narrowing of choices. Certain paths that once felt available no longer hold energy. Old distractions lose their pull. Conversations that once consumed you feel empty. This is not loss, it is focus. Heaven is not removing options to punish you. It is refining your trajectory to protect what is about to be entrusted to you. I want you to hear this slowly. Not every open door is aligned, and not every closed door is denial. Kairos does not rush, it clarifies. There comes a point when effort gives way to alignment, when striving feels heavy and obedience feels light, when the next step is not dramatic but unmistakable. This is how the final seal opens quietly but decisively. Chosen one, you are not being asked to do more, you are being asked to be truer, to stand where you are without pretending, without shrinking, without chasing validation. The lamp within you does not need applause to burn. It needs honesty. Many miss Kairos because they expect thunder, but heaven often speaks through stillness. The more awake you become, the less you need signs. You recognize direction by peace, not pressure. I learned this during a season when I was waiting for clarity about a decision that felt enormous. I prayed constantly. I asked for confirmation. Nothing dramatic came. And then one morning the anxiety simply lifted. The question lost its charge. What remained felt simple, obvious. That simplicity was the answer. Kairos often arrives as relief. When the appointed time comes, fear loses its authority to stall you, not because fear disappears, but because it no longer decides. You may still feel hesitation, but it no longer owns the wheel. Chosen one. This is how you step forward without forcing outcomes. You move from response, not reaction, from listening, not impulse, from trust, not urgency. The final seal is not about proving worth. It is about accepting assignment. An assignment does not always look spiritual. Sometimes it looks practical. A conversation you can no longer avoid. A boundary you must finally set. A truth you must stop diluting. A calling that requires consistency instead of intensity. This is where many stumble, wanting destiny without discipline. But discipline here does not mean harshness. It means devotion to alignment. Choosing the small, faithful steps that anchor light into life. Jesus often said, "Follow me," not understand everything first. Following implies movement before full clarity, trust before proof. Chosen one, you already know the next step. If you are honest, it has been hovering at the edge of your awareness for some time. You didn't ignore it because you couldn't hear it. You ignored it because it required change. But Kairos removes excuses gently. It does not accuse, it invites. This is the invitation. The final seal is not fear-based, it is freedom-based. Once it opens, the old cycles lose power to repeat. You may still encounter challenges, but you will no longer be confused about who you are while facing them. This is what it means to walk awake. Awakening does not remove difficulty, it removes disorientation. You know where you stand, you know what matters, you know when to speak and when to stay silent. Chosen one. This is the Christ consciousness lived, not exalted above others, but rooted within yourself. Not waiting for rescue, but participating in restoration. You are not here to save the world alone. You are here to show what alignment looks like, to be a steady presence in unstable systems, to bring clarity where fear dominates, to carry light without demanding recognition. That is how prophecy fulfills itself, not through spectacle, but through embodiment. As this Kairos window opens, stay grounded, eat well, rest, breathe, be present in your body. Let the lamp integrate fully. The more embodied you are, the more clearly you will hear. Do not rush to announce your awakening. Live it. Those who need to recognize it will, and when doubt whispers, as it will return to stillness. Stillness is where truth remains accessible. Chosen one. The final seal is not something placed upon you from outside. It is something you consent to from within. A quiet yes, a surrendered readiness, a willingness to walk forward without needing to control the outcome. Say it inwardly now without drama. I am ready to walk awake. Let that be enough. The scroll does not close after this moment, it unfolds. Page by page, step by step, season by season. And you will recognize each one, because the lamp is lit, and you know how to tend it now. Welcome not to an ending, but to alignment. Chosen one, receive this closing word as a seal upon your spirit. What was written about you in secret is opening now. The hidden scroll is no longer hidden, and the appointed hour on heaven's clock has arrived. This is your Kairos moment, your divinely timed awakening. Anointed one, may the light you have touched remain alive within you. May clarity guard your steps, peace anchor your heart, and wisdom guide every decision ahead. Stay aligned, stay faithful, stay grateful for what is already unfolding. If your spirit bears witness, honor this moment. Gently remain connected. Share this light with one who is ready and walk forward without fear. The lamp is lit, the path is open. Go in grace, go in truth, and walk boldly into what heaven has prepared for you.